and welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to another After Hours TBR. That is where I use an electronic TBR game to work out what I'm going to read over the next month. You can hear it in the way that I'm speaking. I have not been well, hence the lack of content, hence the lack of TBR. Like, I put a TBR together, I've touched 2 books. I filmed it, didn't edit it. It's been a time. It's been stressful. We've had GCSEs at work. I'm exhausted. But I found that if I don't do a TBR, if I don't commit to it, then I don't do any reading at all. So we are here. We are ready. This is it for March. So before I start playing the game, there are no less than 4 books already on my TBR, because of course there is. The first one I want to shout out is the continued read-along with Becca and a bunch of other people. The live show of this is going to be the first weekend of March. Well, the live show for the previous book, A Knife of Never Letting Go. Book 2, we are reading in March, and then I imagine it'll be the first weekend of April that we do the live show for this one. The first one traumatized me. I cried. I gave it 5 stars. I am nervous about this, but they can't do the same thing to me twice. And I'm leaving no more spoilers than that. But, check the trigger warnings, pals, before you pick up this series, because it'll get you. It's a great series, but it'll get you. So that's book 1. Book 2, I can't show you because it is the surprise Patreon pick, which was selected by my patrons. We have a bingo board every month. They select the theme, I select the book. And this month, with everything that's going on around the world, I wanted to remind people that book burning never works, and that is our key theme, and that is all I'm going to say about that book. It is also time for our Patreon seasonal read, so patrons in high enough tiers will get an additional free book, and the seasonal read that we're going to be picking up in March is I Feed Her the Beast, and the Beast is Me, which I've heard so many good things about. Parisian ballet story, monsters, BIPOC rep. I'm so here for it. So that is book 3. And then book 4 is my teapot pick. So this was originally gifted to me, I'm Sorry You Feel That Way by Rebecca Waite. I've heard really good things. This was gifted to me as an apology years ago from Zach. Can't believe it's actually years ago now, that's crazy. But yes, I'm excited to finally get to this one. It's been on my TBR a while. With those 4 out of the way, here is the rest of the carnage that is my TBR game. Okay, so bearing in mind so much going on in March, not feeling well, I'm thinking shortest reads possible, romance, contemporaries, avoiding historical fiction, and maybe some supernatural elements. So I feel like we can get away with sci-fi and fantasy. So let's go. Right, fantasy and sci-fi. Let's go. Actually, I always go up and over. Let's go down. Let's go down and round. So as you can hear, I am still very much flu-y. I feel like I've been ill for like 100 years. Middle grade will do nicely. I haven't read a proper middle grade in ages. Not picking up a historical fiction. Do not have the time. Let's go. Literary and contemporary we do have time for. Let's click at horror just in case it's got like a supernatural element to it. I think we can probably get away with it being a short read. I think we can find the right kind of short read. Or maybe even a quick read. I just don't know if I'm going to have the energy, because this month was such a weird month reading wise, because I still have so many books left over from my TBR last month. I didn't even really have time to film. Well, I had time to film the TBR. I can't even fit through that gap. That's a wall. Can't fit through. Had loads of time to like film it, didn't edit it, didn't have the energy to, and when watching it I realised I look rough. Oh, we're running out of time. I really thought, do you know what? I was clicking through so many, I really thought I was going to be able to make it through to the 10 without it timing out. And I didn't. I think I've got enough fantasy, so let's go up and over. Let's try up and over. But I'm directing 2 plays at the moment. One is being performed in March and April, and one in July. So time-wise, I don't have a lot of time. So I need a TBR that is going to be gentle on me. with that in mind. So the prompts that we've got are fantasy, sci-fi, disabled character rep, great. Middle grade, a graphic novel. I don't know if I have a middle grade graphic novel. Okay, we'll worry about that in a second. Bold word title for literary contemporary. Horror, lying as a key theme. Mood read contemporary. Disabled character rep in gothic fiction. Monsters in a thriller mystery. Okay. A sci-fi fantasy standalone. A sci-fi ugly cover. And a booktuber TBR game for middle grade. Okay, I'm gonna film this now. Okay, so I have literally just put into YouTube TBR game, and Books with Lexi, who is not someone I am subscribed to, has got their new TBR game board for 2025. So I'm gonna have a cheeky little watch.
I have a new updated exciting version of my TBR game, Escape the TBR. I've been playing this for 2 years with a board that I colored in myself, printed, laminated, taped together, and it has served me well, but I'm so excited for this new board. The point of my game is to escape this haunted house, and this board looks more like a house. There's furniture in it. I'm truly so happy with how it turned out. Like, it really, really looks incredible, and I think it's going to bring me some great reads moving forward. So let's play the game. Welcome to the brand new board for Escape the TBR. I am so excited to be playing with this board.
Me too. I'm going to watch this properly, but you don't need to see me watching it as part of a commentary. So I am going to, first and foremost, I'm going to subscribe because this looks like great content. Here for it. Let's skip to her first prompt.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A horror book picked with a spinner wheel. So for...
Okay, so the TBR continues. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so we have a middle grade, fine, horror spinner wheel. That's how I've got to work out what this prompt is. Middle grade horror spinning wheel. Okay, right. Spinner wheel. Okay, really quickly. I have picked 5 random middle grade horrors to just kind of chuck into this spinner wheel. We have Shadow Hall Academy, which is by the same author who did Evelyn Jones. I finished that series and adored it. I have 2 Jennifer Killicks. I have Dreadwood, and I have the short story collection, which she curated. I then also have Escape Room by Christopher Edge, and I have Wish You Weren't Here by Gabby Hutchinson Crouch. So, this TBR is becoming more and more effort. Okay, I am clicking to spin. Okay, book 1 of the TBR done. Now let's just do everything else. Okay, so I'm going to start with the prompt that I was able to double up, and that is the I'm sorry you feel that way. I have put in as my contemporary mood read. I actually picked this out as my mood read before I did the teapot, so I was like pleasantly surprised that this was the one that came out of the teapot. This was selected by Ellen, or recommended by Ellen in the teapot, and gifted to me by Zach, which is why I fumbled it a little bit in my intro, but I am really, really excited to read this one. All I know is that the reason Zach picked it for me is because one of the main characters is called Hannah, and that he was sorry. That was as far as his brain went. I know that this is a contemporary, I think, about sisters. I feel like it's... I've heard it's funny, but I'm worried that it's going to be funny in the way that, like, Queenie was funny, or other books like that, where they're contemporaries and they're dark and they're sad. But I've been really trying hard to read loads and loads of contemporaries recently, and really working through my TBR, but they have all been about racism and the internalized struggle around that. And I really... it's really good to read anti-racist books. I don't want to exhaust myself on it, because then I'm not going to actually appreciate the lessons to be learned and enjoy those books either. So we're going to do some family trauma based in a white family. Can't wait. Obviously, you saw in the previous clip that Dreadwood was my middle grade horror pick as a horror TBR spinning wheel. It just got more and more complicated, but I've had this book on my TBR for what feels like 100 years. I keep meaning to pick up Jennifer Killick's writing, and I keep being told that I will love it because I'm a middle grade and horror fan, specifically middle grade horror fan. And I just haven't. So I know very little about this other than it's a kind of Breakfast Club style. They all have to go to detention on a Saturday, but with spooky buildings and ghosts and monsters. That's all I know, and I'm really excited to try it because it sounds a lot of fun. I want to start by apologising because I don't think this is an ugly cover, but one of the prompts was fantasy with an ugly cover. And I have horrors with ugly covers and I have thrillers with ugly covers, but I am such a cover buy baby that I don't have many of each. And I really, really struggled when it came to a fantasy with an ugly cover. So I've gone with These Witches Don't Burn, purely because I don't understand why it's like a real candle and crystals and herbs, and then these like really minimalist, cartoony tarot card style face cards. I feel like more could have been done with it. I feel like that it was kind of, the effort was not there, and I feel like it could have been better. This feels less traditionally published than it actually is, because it's a Penguin teen, and more of like a indie, I didn't have the budget for a real cover, so I threw this together on Canva. And that is coming from someone who uses Canva for pretty much everything. So would you like to know what I think about the book? Because I've no idea what's in it. I've had it for so long, I can only assume it's a group of women. I feel like it's sapphic because you've got the hot ex and the new crush, and they're both women. Sapphic witches, hopefully bringing down the patriarchy in some way, but maybe just being really petty. I don't know. Not here to judge. We listen and we don't judge. And in my instance, good for her. So it's time I pick this one up, because I literally just bought, or just got unhauled to me, the sequel. So I need to read the first one to make sure I like it. Because even though I promised myself I wouldn't do that anymore, I did it because they were free books going and I couldn't resist. For a horror book with a theme of lying, I've gone with The Angel of the Indian Lake by Stephen Graham Jones. This is the third in a trilogy where the main characters can never keep their stories straight. There is constantly lying, there is constantly manipulation. I have no idea what's going to happen in book 3. I'm terrified and I'm so excited. This is a horror book that I've been meaning to get to for, again, what feels like 100 years. And I really, really love Stephen Graham Jones' writing. So now is the time. I scoured my shelves for a contemporary that had a cold word in it, and the only one I had was Some Like It Cold by Elle McNichols. This is a proof copy that I was unhauled by someone who had duplicates, so thank you very much. I'm really, really excited to get to this one. I love an Elle McNichols book anyway, but I've only ever read her middle grades, so I'm really, really excited to see what she does with an adult romance. And I'm just thrilled that it's set in a contemporary setting, because otherwise I would have really struggled. I have no cold word titles whatsoever, except for literally the word cold. Like, talk about minimalist effort. Like, could not have tried less. That it ticks the box. For a fantasy standalone, we have I've had this book for as long as I've had a YouTube channel. Year of the Reaper by Michaela Lucia. I've had this for forever. I don't know what it's about anymore. Like, I don't know. I'm going into this so unutterably blind, and all I can hope is that I still enjoy it, even though I'm so not reading fantasy at the moment, and that this is such a classic, potentially dated, I don't know. I feel like I'm being really harsh. I'm going in with really low expectations, which maybe means that it'll be my favourite book of March. Who knows? But yeah, only a little concerned. Only a little bit worried about that one. Then I had a thriller or mystery with monsters, and I narrowed this down a little bit just to mystery with monsters, because the only book that I could find that I felt ticked those boxes was this book, which is 𝚘𝚎 the Hellmaker by Mina Ikemoto Gosh. This is illustrated, you can't really, okay, there we go. This is illustrated, dark, spooky monster investigation, and obviously has really interesting Asian mythology and samurai vibes. Curses, monsters, all sorts, and it just feels like this one's gonna be a vibe. I'm also really hoping that because it's a chunky one, it's a gentle one, reading wise, that I can get through it quickly, even if it is going to traumatize me, because it's always the one you think you're going to get away with not being traumatized by that gets you right at the last second. And weirdly, continuing a theme with those two, I have The Worst Ronin as my middle grade graphic novel. I only have YA graphic novels. I don't have any adult graphic novels left. I don't have any manga, really, that aren't YA left. I only have YA. This is the youngest YA. This was the closest to middle grade that I could find. And that is just purely based on art style. It feels younger. And also, like I said, I feel like I was of a mood, of a theme, you know? So maybe those three will become a vlog. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think I should vlog those three? Because I feel like they're similar enough to make it interesting. Okay, last two books. We have a gothic book with disability rep. There is a main character in this that requires full-time care. I think because she suffers dementia, but for a bunch of other reasons. And another one that I've had so long, it's actually faded. I don't think you can see just how badly that has faded on the camera. Oh, there we go. You can see it there. So somebody left it out in the sun too long, and now it's a different colour. I'm so sorry, Olivia, who gifted this to me for my birthday a couple of years ago. I do appreciate the gift that I'm given, and I'm really grateful that you would buy me things. I am so sorry that I've not got to this sooner. Potentially more vlog material. Maybe I just need to do a weekly reading vlog in March every week and just work through these books in batches. We could do 2 horrors. We could do 2 contemporaries. We could do the witchy ones, and then we can do Asian mythology. That could be fun. I've definitely signed myself up for more than I can handle in March, considering how busy I'm going to be. That's fine.
That's fine.
And then the last book is the fantasy with disability rep, and that is The Whispering Dart by Kelly Andrews, where the main character has magic but is also deaf. And that is all I know about it, because this is an Illumicrate one that, again, I feel like I've had for 100 years. So I know nothing else about it. So a nice, diverse, fun, different kind of TBR for me. I feel like last month's was a bit intense. I feel like, you didn't even see it, but I feel like last month's was a bit intense, and that maybe this mixture of like middle grade, YA and adult is probably a better mix for me. Also mix in genre, because I've been very, very heavy on the contemporaries recently, mainly because I own so many. You can see them behind me. There's so many contemporaries there. I need to read them, but I feel like I've also reached a point where my TBR is big enough that I feel like I have lots of choice without feeling overwhelmed by it. And now it's just a case of reading each month is proving tricky, because I keep doing things like having a life that's not reading. Disgusting behaviour. So let me know in the comments down below, which book should I start with? Which reading vlog should I start with? If you just want to let me know you were here, feel free to leave a little playing card emoji down in the comments below. Treat yourself to something from Waypoint, because it supports me and my content. Check out all the links below, because I have a Patreon now. And most importantly, have a nice day.